Golfers ask the same question every year. What's TaylorMade going to do next? Every manufacturer can innovate, but TaylorMade always finds a way to buck the status quo. There's wide driver heads, twist face, speed slots. I could keep going. In 2022, they did something unconventional, replacing the typical titanium face with 60 layers of carbon sheets. The design was fast, really fast. Punching the pedal initially led TaylorMade to dial in off-center performance, culminating with a QI10 driver that blew us away last year. It was so good from every area that we tested them again on the robot to ensure the numbers were legit. They were. With QI35 entering the driver space this year, the question becomes whether it can top the consistency of QI10 and the speed of Stealth 2. This is where having a swing robot comes in handy.
This swing robot has been delivering insights for 35 years and is used by the USGA, R&A, and nearly every major manufacturer in the industry for club testing. And it often discovers pretty unexpected results when it comes to comparing new models and older models. We are going to bring you data and visuals that have previously only been accessible to the companies designing your equipment.
When we test clubs, we run each 10.5 degree head at 95 miles an hour, which is a pretty common swing speed for most amateur golfers. This lets us gather a ton of useful data, from spin rate and dispersion to ball speed and carry distance across 9 different impact locations on the face. We also use the same shaft to create a true apples-to-apples comparison. We're able to acquire meaningful data points for 90% of the face, so practically every kind of miss is accounted for. Here's what we found when we tested the last 3 years of TaylorMade drivers on the robot. When you're already fast, you don't want to give up any ground to the competition, and that's exactly what we're seeing from TaylorMade with a gradual bump in speed across nearly every model. Looking at the ball speed data, what's apparent is the QI35 core model has found a new gear. You might be saying, okay, it's only 2 miles an hour faster than QI10 and Stealth 2 on the top end. That's only 6 yards. But here's where the data paints an interesting picture. What you see from the data is a higher concentration of shots recorded on the high end of speed with QI35. The numbers you see affixed to each bar is the number of shots recorded at each speed across the 9 different impact locations. In this case, that's 15 shots between 141 and 143 miles per hour with QI35 versus just 4 shots at 141 miles an hour with QI10. QI35 LS is a similar story with more shots at 143, although you could make a case QI10 has better top-end speed consistency with 26 shots recorded between 141 and 142 miles an hour. That can be attributed to high toe misses gaining 4 yards versus losing 12 yards with QI35. And for those who constantly crow about the new stuff always being faster, look at Stealth 2 HD versus QI35 Max and QI10 Max. It was far and away the fastest, and it was released in 2023. While the ball speed looks good on a launch monitor, we're going to show you why you need to be looking at more than pure speed.
Remember those Stealth 2 HD numbers? Here's why speed without consistent spin is meaningless. Check out this spin chart. At the bottom, you'll see spins ranging from 2,000 to 4,500 across the 54 shots we recorded with Stealth 2 HD. That's wildly inconsistent. You might get a knuckleball with no spin on one miss. You might get a floater with too much spin on another. It's a coin flip. The QI10 Max has a similar spin rate, wide and inconsistent on miss hits. Now compare that to the QI35 Max, where the delta was roughly 1,000 RPMs. No recorded shots below 2,500 or above 3,600. That's a tight, consistent range. That defines a good driver. Having the ability to swing and not have to worry about fluctuating spin rates will translate to more distance potential on misses and the ability to just swing it. The QI35 LS and QI35 follow suit with tighter spin ranges. They aren't as noticeable as QI35 Max, but it's still getting incrementally better. That's all you can ask for from a yearly driver release cadence.
So we've set the table by highlighting ball speed and spin numbers. Tight spins and ball speeds will produce rockets. Let's start with QI35 and QI35 Max. Across the 54 shots, QI35 saw 52 of the 54 shots carry 215 to 230 yards. It's one of the tightest carry bar charts we saw during robotic testing. It all but minimizes the possibility of the big miss, which is ideal for golfers with inconsistent contact. QI35 Max has an almost identical bar chart, higher potential carry distances with a reduction in bad balls on the low end.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but consistency across the face generally translates to tighter dispersions. After seeing dispersions concentrated left of center line the last 2 years, all 3 QI35s are giving off straighter drive vibes. The core and max heads in particular. That's a good thing if you don't have a specific shot shape. But if you're someone who struggles with the slice, the heavier left bias we saw the last 2 years of product could come in handy.
So who should upgrade? If your driver contact is inconsistent, it's difficult to poke holes in the data. QI35 and QI35 Max in particular saw significant performance improvements across the board. The kind of improvements in speed and dispersion that would warrant throwing them into the testing conversation.
The QI10 LS driver does something you rarely see from a low spin offering. It gained distance 4 yards on high toe misses. Let me repeat that again, it gained distance on a common miss. QI35 wasn't able to replicate those numbers, so if you're continually missing on the high toe, you'd be hard pressed to make a switch. The carry and spin numbers are within a similar range to QI10 and Stealth 2 Plus. We're not saying you shouldn't switch, but there are a lot of things going right for QI10 at the moment. It remains a top low spin driver 1 year later.
TaylorMade found a way to make some meaningful improvements in 1 year, and they did it on the heels of arguably their most complete lineup in QI10. I don't think golfers realize how difficult that is to do. If we were compiling a list of MVP candidates from our 95 mile per hour testing, QI35 and QI35 Max would be in the running for hardware. They do so many things well, especially if you're playing an older driver and want to upgrade to something that mitigates the big miss. Consistency is key in the driver design game, and those two have it in spades.